a master martial artist that once fought on the side of good and is now one of the most evil tyrant the world has ever seen. Who exactly is Chase Young? And in this video, we'll be going over the part 2 lore of Chase Young, one of the main antagonists from the Xiaolin Showdown series. For the sake of this video, we'll be only going over the Chase Young from Xiaolin Showdown and not the Chase Young from Xiaolin Chronicles. I would also like to say, if you haven't watched the part 1 lore of Chase Young that I made a couple months ago, I do urge you to do so before watching this video, so you can have a better understanding of the character Chase Young and his story so far. A link for it will be in the description, and with that out of the way, please enjoy the video. After being defeated by Master Monk Guan and lost the right to both dojo and the 4 chosen Xiaolin dragons, Chase Young started to devise a plan to make young Omi join the Xiaolin side. Despite his first encounter with Omi being a short one, he was really impressed by his skill as a martial artist. He believed that his talent was wasted on the forces of good, and believed that it would be better served if it were placed in the hands of evil. During this time, the 4 chosen Xiaolin monks was battling against the evil boy genius Jack Spicer for the rights of a Shengon Wu that goes by the name the Mosaic Scale. The power of the Mosaic Scale wasn't really been revealed, considering the fact that neither the Xiaolin monks or the villains of the series never really properly used the Shengon Wu. But, based on what we can see, the Shengon Wu was used in order to trap the evil spirit Sibini, who had an encounter with Chase Young 1001 years ago, according to him. So we can probably speculate this type of Shengon Wu was a trap type of Shengon Wu that is used to trap its victims. But this is all speculations, of course. But the one thing that we do know about the Mosaic Scale is that it's the sister Shengon Wu of another Shengon Wu that goes by the name the Monarch Wing. The ability of the Monarch Wing and the Mosaic Scale is currently unknown. The only thing that we do know about it is that when both the Mosaic Scale and the Monarch Wing comes together and activate, they have the ability to make a spirit body roam free without the need of a host. Anyway, due to some inconvenience, Kimiko almost lost the Mosaic Scale to the evil boy genius Jack Spicer. Because of this, it prompted the 3 other Xiaolin dragon to retrieve the Mosaic Scale back from the evil boy genius Jack Spicer. Despite the fact they retrieved the Shengon Wu from the evil boy genius Jack Spicer, Kimiko still feels very frustrated due to the fact that it was her fault to begin with that Jack Spicer was able to get a hold on the Mosaic Scale. Despite the fact that her friends were trying to reassure her that it wasn't her fault, she still felt very frustrated about the event. As the 4 Xiaolin warriors depart, out of the shadow comes Chase Young, and at a distance, he was watching Omi, observing him, thinking that how his talent is always wasted on the side of good. And right there, he decided to try and think of different ways how to make Omi join the Xiaolin side. And while thinking, he decided to return back to his lair. Sometime after he returned back to his evil lair, Chase Young was visited by evil boy genius Jack Spicer. Very displeased with Jack Spicer's presence in his evil lair, Chase Young threatens him to leave. Not taking no for an answer, Jack Spicer was very persistent to Chase Young that the 2 of them should definitely work together. Chase Young told Jack Spicer that for him to consider his proposition, he must first bring him something of value. And the something of value that Jack Spicer had in mind are the Shengon Wu that are at the Xiaolin Temple. During this time, Kimiko accidentally dropped the Mosaic Scale, releasing the evil spirit that is known as Sibini. The evil spirit then roamed free and took possession of Clay's body, the Xiaolin Dragon of Earth. Using Clay's body, the next day the mischievous spirit stays at the Xiaolin Temple, pulling some pranks on the Xiaolin dragons, Kimiko, Omi, and Raimundo. And after that, the evil spirit decided to rob the Xiaolin Temple of its Shengon Wu that are located inside the Xiaolin Temple vault. During this time, Jack Spicer ran into the evil spirit Sibini, although he didn't really know that it was him. Instead, he thought it was just Clay, who decided to become evil. Sibini saw that Jack Spicer was also there to steal the Shengon Wu, so he decided to form an alliance with him, and Jack Spicer wholeheartedly agreed with it. The three other Xiaolin dragons saw what was happening and decided that they needed to stop both Sibini and Jack Spicer, although they never really knew at the time that Sibini is possessing Clay's body. Anyway, both Jack Spicer and Sibini managed to escape and decided to go to Chase Young's lair. When Jack Spicer and Sibini arrived at their destination, Chase Young was already waiting for them. Jack Spicer presented the Shengon Wu that he and Sibini stolen from the Xiaolin Temple to Chase Young, but Chase Young, like always, rejected the offer, saying that he had little interest in Shengon Wu. Because of this, Jack Spicer decided to offer Clay to Chase Young, telling Chase Young that Clay is full-fledged evil and that he can be of some use to him. But when Chase Young looked into Clay's eyes, he can clearly tell that the young monk is possessed, and by Sibini, a mischievous evil spirit no less. After seeing that Sibini has possessed Clay, Chase Young made the statement that one can only be truly evil if one chooses the path to be evil, which Clay has not. After this, Chase Young then have a conversation with Sibini, telling him that it's been 1,000 years since he last encountered him, which Sibini then explained to Chase Young that it's been 1,001 years since they last encounter. After that, Chase Young decided to kick Jack Spicer and Sibini out of his evil lair, stating that they're more annoying than they are evil. But even after 1,001 years, Chase Young still found Sibini nothing more than a small nuisance. Nonetheless, this was an opportunity for Chase Young, an opportunity to teach and test the Xiaolin Dragon of Water, Omi. During this time, the other Xiaolin warriors have become aware of the existence of the evil spirit Sibini. And from the knowledge of Master Feng, the Xiaolin monks were able to learn that Sibini is after the Monarch Wing, which is the sister Shengon Wu of the Mosaic Scale. As I stated before, when the Monarch Wing and the Mosaic Scale come together and activate, they have the ability to make a spiritual body roam free without the need of a physical host, which is something that Sibini planned to use with both Shengon Wu. And with this knowledge, the three Xiaolin dragons began to search for their comrade, who is now currently possessed by the evil spirit Sibini. With the use of the golden tiger claws, Omi went south of the Xiaolin Temple, but instead of finding his comrade Clay, he found someone else, and that person was Chase Young. Chase Young reassures Omi that he wasn't here to fight him, and told him that there was nothing at stake, at the moment at least. But instead, he came to warn him about the evil spirit Sibini, telling Omi that the Monarch Wing Shengon Wu will be revealed at any moment, and that it will be his challenge to stop Sibini. Chase Young began to tell Omi of different methods in order to defeat the spirit, telling him that he must fight the spirit until he cannot fight anymore, and that way, he will be released from his physical host. Omi then began to admire Chase Young's skill as a martial artist and told him that it was really unfortunate that he was fighting on the wrong side. Chase Young then responded that he was thinking the same thing about him. But just because both of them are on opposite sides doesn't mean that he cannot teach him. Omi then launched an attack on Chase Young using a martial arts skill that is called Monkey Strike, which Chase Young then countered with another skill that is known as Repulse the Monkey. Omi then asked Chase Young why is he teaching him his skills, and Chase Young responded that teaching is the true path to learning. And with that knowledge imparted, he then disappeared in a blink of an eye. The Monarch Wing Shengon Wu then revealed itself, and with that knowledge, the three Xiaolin monks then went to that same location. When they arrive, they encounter both Jack Spicer and Sibini, who is still in possession of Clay's body, looking for the Monarch Wing. Sibini then decided to battle against the three Xiaolin monks, and in the process, betrayed Jack Spicer. Despite the fact that Sibini had the upper hand in the fight, the tide of battle was then turned. Using the Repulse the Monkey martial art technique that Chase Young taught him, Omi was able to use Sibini's strength against him, and in the process, leave him completely exhausted to the point where he has to leave Clay's body. And Chase Young watches from a distance, looking very pleased knowing full well that Omi has absorbed his lesson well. But the evil spirit was not defeated yet, and in a last-minute effort, Sibini tried his best to get his hands on the Monarch Wing, only to be stopped by Kimiko, who then challenged him to a Xiaolin Showdown and defeated him. Chase Young used the opportunity to have a conversation with Omi after the battle was over. Omi decided to ask him if he has given up evil for good, only for him to tell him that things aren't always that simple, and tell him that he only did it for one small favor, and that he hopes that Omi can return it one day. And with that being said, Chase Young once again disappeared in the blink of an eye. Some time has passed, and the Xiaolin dragons have grown stronger, battling the evil boy genius Jack Spicer and other forces of evil. Chase Young has never once intervened with what they are doing, but that is now about to change. Because now, Chase Young has just discovered that the Xiaolin monks was able to get their hands on a Shengan Wu that is called the Fountain of Hui. The Fountain of Hui is a Shengan Wu that contains all the knowledge in the universe, and when it's activated, it has the ability to dispense this knowledge to its user. The downside of the Fountain of Hui is the fact that it doesn't give the user the exact information that they want. And if the user isn't careful enough, it is said that their head will explode if they absorb too much information. But there is a workaround. With the aid of another Shengan Wu known as the Eagle Scope, the user will be able to get the specific information that they require from the Fountain of Hui. And this is what Chase Young fears. With the power of both Shengan Wu, he fears that the monks might be able to use it in order to gain the knowledge to destroy evil once and for all. And because of that, Chase Young must do whatever he can to prevent that from happening. And so, he started to devise a plan to get a hold on the Eagle Scope first, before the Xiaolin monks. Chase Young then visited Jack Spicer in order to carry out his plan, which revolves around him using Jack Spicer as a distraction against the young Xiaolin monks. In order for the plan to work, Chase Young told Jack Spicer that he needed both the monkey staff and the tongue of Saiping. Unfortunately, the tongue of Saiping was in possession of the 4 Xiaolin warrior, but Jack Spicer reassures Chase Young that he would be able to get it back. And Chase Young reassures Jack Spicer, telling him by the time his plan goes underway, he will be able to lead his own evil army. With the power of the monkey staff Shengan Wu, Jack Spicer easily snuck into the Xiaolin temple and stole the tongue of Saiping without anyone noticing. And with Jack Spicer finally having both the monkey staff and the tongue of Saiping, Chase Young can now easily undergo his plan. It was the year of the green monkey, and according to Chase Young, monkey power becomes at its strongest during this time of year, and the monkey staff becomes at its most dangerous to whoever uses it. With the power of the tongue of Saiping, Chase Young summoned the monkeys that live in the jungle that surrounds his evil lair. Afterwards, he told them to follow the command of the monkey version of Jack Spicer, due to him having possession of the monkey staff, and that they should do all things that Monkey Jack does. Soon after, with his army of monkey, Jack Spicer invaded the Xiaolin temple and completely overwhelmed the 4 Xiaolin monks. With sheer numbers alone, the 4 Xiaolin monks were completely outnumbered and completely outmatched. From a distance, Chase Young, alongside the ghostly version of Wuya, watches Jack Spicer's success on taking over the Xiaolin temple. Wuya praises Chase Young on how brilliant his plan was, and Chase Young explains to her that he needs to keep the monk occupied while he retrieves the Eagle Scope. Because, as I explained earlier, if both the Fountain of Wei and the Eagle Scope were to fall into the Xiaolin monk's hand, they would be able to unlock the secret on how to destroy evil forever. And since the monks are now currently occupied, Chaseyoung and Wuya sets off to look for the Eagle Scope. Inside the Shaolin Temple, the Shaolin monks was able to learn of Chaseyoung's plan. Due to Omi using the Fountain of Wi on himself, he was able to use the little bit of knowledge that the Fountain of Wi provided and deduce the overall plan of Jack Spicer and Chaseyoung. Afterwards, Omi then challenged Monkey Jack Spicer to a Xiaolin Showdown and was able to defeat him in order for them to leave the temple and go look for the Eagle Scope. But unfortunately, they were too late. And from a distance, Chaseyoung watches the young monks with the power of the Eagle Scope.
Join us! That's ridiculous! No. I mean, that's brilliant.
I speak of one monk in particular. As a chapter of his life closes, a new one shall soon open.
Who? Which one?
The chosen one. The one who I plan to let rule by my side for eternity.
Thank you all for watching the video. Please be sure to subscribe so you can stay updated on future content. And with that out of the way, I wish everyone a good day.